Ember Blake Writes. I'm Ember Blake, and I post videos 2 to 3 times a week about my experience in trying to become a published author. Today, I thought I'd bring something a little different. I recently went to a local used bookstore and tried to pick out some titles that are from authors I already know and love, as well as authors that have been recommended to me, either from friends or just various recommended lists on the internet. Since it's a used bookstore, they didn't have every single thing that was on my list, but I thought I'd share with you what I got. The first one is by an author I already know and love, Garth Nix, one of my favorites, but I hadn't had the chance to check out his new book, Frog Kisser, which came out... I need to look this up. I should be more prepared. It came out 2 years ago. I'm actually already a good chunk of the way through this book. You can see by the bookmark. I've been already reading and enjoying this since I went to the store a couple of weeks ago. And I've been loving this so far. I love his style. First of all, he has a tendency to use a lot of animals in his writing. As I'm sure most of the people that are watching this know, I love animals. And this one in particular has a friendly dog, which... love. Next, I tried to find some works by another artist that I already know and love, Mercedes Lackey. You might have heard of her. She's pretty big in the fantasy scene. But I fell in love with her Arrows of the Queen series when I was in like middle school, high school, somewhere around that age. Loved it. I haven't had the chance to check out her series on Vanyel yet. The Magic's Promise series. And they actually had all 3 books in the series at the bookstore, so I picked them all up. They were like $1.50, and I'll get tons of enjoyment out of them. Next is an author I'm frankly surprised I haven't really had the chance to read yet. I loved watching his appearances on the Penny Arcade Dungeons & Dragons series, Acquisitions Incorporated. So I'm surprised I haven't had the chance to check out his stuff yet, especially since he's really big in the fantasy scene. The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss was recommended to me on just a forum about books that are similar in theme or style to Game of Thrones and J.R.R. Tolkien, books that are like kind of the high, sprawling fantasy novels. Obviously, this is a rather big book, and I'm a very slow reader, so it's going to take me a while to get through this one, but I'm kind of looking forward to it because he's hysterical in real life, and I'm hoping that maybe some of that humor translates to this book. And last but not least is a series that was recommended to me by one of my NaNoWriMo friends. Shoutouts to Flora. This is a series by a woman named Robin Hobb, and she apparently has a lot of really great fantasy novels that I've not had the chance to explore yet. And I was able to get the entirety of the Assassin's Apprentice series. I guess it's the Farseer trilogy. And they had the entire series at the bookstore, and I was like, yes. So I grabbed it up. Now, I'm a particularly slow reader, and that's something I'm actually trying to change. A lot of the posts I've read about like what to do if you want to be an author, pretty much all of them talk about you must read. It's not that I don't like reading. Over the course of time, as my desire to be a writer kind of fell to the wayside during college and the early years of my career, I fell out of the habit of actually reading as well. I mostly read now when I'm about to go to bed, and it's not every night either, because I tend to, if I'm getting to bed kind of late, I don't like to only spend 5 minutes reading a book. That's about as much time as it takes for me to get back into the world. But that's something I'm trying to change, and I'm actually finding that it's being very good for me to get back into some of these writers that I really love their books. In particular, this book by Garth Nix, Frog Kisser, is in just such a delightful, imaginative world. Side note, he has like the best magic systems in his books. I first fell in love with his writing in the Abhorsen series, which was recommended to me by a friend of mine in college. Mind blown. The crazy detail and the specificity, but also the creativity of his magic world is truly aspirational. I brought a friend. This is a quick one today. I just wanted to check in, say hey, and talk about how I'm really looking forward to getting into some of this reading. Leave a comment below about books that you're reading and suggestions you might have. It's gonna take me a while to get to reading those books, but I'm always down for recommendations, and I'm hoping that with practice I'll be able to read a lot more quickly. Fingers crossed. Alright, Coco, let's say bye-byes! So for now, this has been Ember Blake. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.